Good day, everyone. Today, I am here to discuss the significant and pressing issue that affects the health and well-being of many individuals, particularly adolescents, the correlation between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior. This topic is not just a concern for public health, but also for educators, parents, and policymakers who strive to promote safer and healthier communities. This research will show that early sexual activity is often linked to an increased likelihood of engaging in behaviors such as inconsistent condom use, multiple sexual partners, and exposure to sexually transmitted infections. These behaviors can have a long-term consequences, including unplanned pregnancies, health complications, and emotional distress. By addressing this issue, we can work towards reducing the risk associated with early sexual activity and create a safer environment for the next generation. In Ethiopia, the risk of sexual behavior among secondary school students is significant. Evidence revealed that risky sexual behaviors range from 13% in Humera to 71% in Addis Ababa among secondary school who had begun in Zambia. It reported that 72.2% of teenagers engage in risky sexual behavior. Moreover, in one of the schools in Bangkok, Thailand, is becoming increasingly concerned about risky sexual behavior and infections transmitted via sexual activity, with 14.1% of students having had sex before. Furthermore, in the Philippines, particularly in Metro Manila, it faces significant risk in risky sexual behavior among vulnerable population like Filipino men who had sex with men and the LGBTQIA plus community, with 80% of new HIV infections occurs due to the limited education, condom use stigma, gender-based discrimination, and communication difficulties. So in Asuncion, Davao del Norte, particularly in Sagayan National High School, have a problem in early sexual activity resulting to risky sexual behavior. The purpose of this study was to determine the relationship between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior. Specifically, this study sought answers to the following objectives. Number one, to describe the level of early sexual activity in terms of sources of information on sexual and reproductive health knowledge, sexual conduct, sexual ideology or gender, protective behavior, condoms, current or most recent boy or girl friend, sexual and reproductive health services, sexual and reproductive health outcomes, and background characteristics. Second, to describe the level of risky sexual behaviors in terms of sexual behavior, contraceptive behavior, and sexual attitude. Number three, to determine the significant relationship between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior among LGBTQIA+ students. And last, to determine which domain in early sexual activity significantly affects early sexual behavior. These are the hypothesis that is used in this study. First, there is no significant relationship between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior among LGBTQIA students. Second, there is no domain of early sexual behavior or activity that significantly affects risky sexual behavior among LGBTQIA+ students. This research used the Bandura Social Cognitive Theory, or SCT. This theory explains that early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior among teenagers highlights the interplay of personal, behavioral, and environmental factors. Personal factors such as belief and attitudes, shape and motivation and choices. Behavioral factors like unprotected sex are influenced by decision making and risk assessment. Environmental factors like peer influence and access to education encourage or discourage risky sexual behavior. This theory emphasizes the need for targeted interventions considering these factors. Furthermore, the Bronfenbrenner's ecological system theory is also used in this study. It suggests that early sexual behavior is influenced by multiple environmental systems. Microsystems such as family, peers, and school shape attitudes, values, and behaviors. The mesosystem involves interaction between these microsystems, with the exosystem includes external environments like media and socioeconomic status. This research is also used the health belief model by Hunchbaum and Rockenstock in 1950s. It explains that risky sexual behavior by examining individuals' perception of risk and benefits. Factors like perceived susceptibility, barriers, and self-efficacy contribute to risky behaviors. Interventions to reduce risky sexual behavior should focus on increasing awareness, promoting safe practices, reducing perceived barriers, and strengthening self-efficacy. So here are the conceptual paradigm of this research. The first block is the independent variable, which is the early sexual activity with its following indicators, which are the sources of information on sexual and reproductive health, sexual and reproductive health knowledge, sexual conduct, sexual ideology or gender, protective behavior, condoms, current or most recent boy or girl friend, sexual and reproductive health services, sexual and reproductive health outcomes, and last, background characteristics. While in the second box, you can see the independent variable, which is the risky sexual behavior with its following indicators, which are the sexual behavior, contraceptive behavior, and sexual attitude. This study will utilize a quantitative, non-experimental, descriptive correlation design to examine the relationship between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior among LGBTQIA+ students. The study involved 89 LGBTQIA+ students from Sagayen National High School, including 9 from grade 7, 15 from grade 8, 24 from grade 9, 18 from grade 10, 15 from grade 11, and 8 from grade 12. Mean was used to measure the level of early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior. This will be utilized for Objective 1 and 2. Person R was used to determine the significant relationship between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior. Regression analysis was used to determine which domain of early sexual activity significantly affects risky sexual behavior. In the Table 1, the highest score for sexual and reproductive health knowledge with a mean of 2.56, followed by sources of information and sexual and reproductive health with a mean of 2.53, background characteristics with the mean of 2.40, sexual ideology or gender with a mean of 2.42, condoms 2.16, sexual conduct 1.76, sexual and reproductive health outcomes 1.57, productive behavior 1.80, and sexual and reproductive health services with a mean of 1.52, as well as the current or most recent boy or girlfriend with the same lower mean. The overall mean of 2.03 with a descriptive equivalent of low means that the level of early sexual activity is less evident. In the table 2, the risky sexual behavior levels of LGBTQIA+ students at Sagayan National High School show that sexual attitude has a highest mean with the highest mean 1.75, followed by contraceptive behavior 1.50 and sexual behavior 1.41. With the overall mean of 1.55 with a descriptive equivalent of very low means that the level of risky sexual behavior is not evident. There is a moderate correlation between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior, indicating that LGBTQIA+ students with low early sexual activity tend to have a very low risky sexual behavior. The value of 0.35 means about 35% of the variation in early sexual activity is linked to risky sexual behavior. In the Table 4, early sexual activity significantly impacts the risky sexual behavior of LGBTQIA+, with some of the indicators having a p-value below and above 0.05. Sources of information on sexual and reproductive health, sexual conduct, sexual ideology or gender, protective behavior, current or most recent boy or girlfriend, sexual and reproductive health services, sexual and reproductive health outcomes, and background characteristics have p-values of zero point 0.0, while the sexual and reproductive health knowledge and condoms have a p-values of 0.12 and 0.06. These confirm that early sexual activity plays a crucial role in promoting risky sexual behavior. To summarize the findings of this study, the level of early sexual activity among the LGBTQIA+ students in Sagayan National High School have an overall mean of 2.03 with a descriptive equivalent of low. The level of risky sexual behavior among the LGBTQIA students in Sagayan National High School have an overall mean of 1.55 with a descriptive equivalent of very low. There is a statistically significant relationship between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior of LGBTQIA plus students, as indicated by a probability value of 0.0 and leading to the rejection of the null hypothesis. In statistical terms, there is a significant evidence to reject the idea that early sexual activity of LGBTQIA+ students is impacted by risky sexual behavior, as the calculated probability value of 0.00 is lower than the level of significance of 0.05. In conclusion, the level of early sexual activity is less evident. The level of risky sexual behavior is not evident. There is a significant relationship between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior. Last, early sexual activity is significant in predicting the risky sexual behavior of the LGBTQIA+ students. The study recommends a structured approach to improve sexual and reproductive health services, or SRHS, by prioritizing policy advocacy for funding, expanding community-based access, and fostering collaboration among governments, NGOs, and healthcare providers. Educational initiatives and provider training are essential to raise awareness, reduce stigma, and ensure high quality and inclusive care. For groups where sexual behavior is not easily observed, a research-driven approach is recommended to address sexual health needs. Implementing educational programs in schools and community spaces, and partnering with local leaders to build trust and encourage participation. Ensuring access to confidential counseling and credible health resources is also crucial for informed and supportive sexual health services. This research indicates a strong link between early sexual activity and risky sexual behavior among LGBTQIA plus students. Comprehensive Sexuality Education, or CSE, and Youth-Friendly Health Services, or YFHS, supported by the WHO and the People and the Philippine Department of Health, reduce this risk by providing information, skills, and support. Expanding these programs, improving educator resources, increasing access in underserved areas, and conducting ongoing assessments could further promote safe behaviors and better health outcomes. When condom use alone does not sufficiently reduce risky sexual behavior, Alternative strategies such as comprehensive sex education, access to various contraceptive methods, behavioral counseling, and peer education are essential. Additionally, regular STI screenings and communication skills empower individuals to make informed choices and advancing sexual health awareness and safer practices beyond the use of condoms. It is recommended that the Department of Education or DepEd in the Philippines incorporate a comprehensive age-appropriate sexual and reproductive health programs into the school curriculum, covering topics like puberty, contraception, STIs, consent, and healthy relationship. Collaboration with healthcare professionals and organizations can provide support and resources, while workshop and peer education program will help engage students and promote informed decision making. The first program recommendation is the CARE or the Contraception Awareness and Responsible Education Program. This program seeks to enhance students' knowledge of contraception through a comprehensive sexual health education program. It includes professional-led shops on contraceptive methods, their effectiveness, and preventing unwanted pregnancies and STIs. This program should be age appropriate, inclusive, and cultural sensitive, promoting open discussion and reducing stigma. Access to counseling and confidential health services will further support informed decision making to foster a healthier campus environment. The second program recommendation is the Positivity and Responsibility Program. This aims to foster a culture of positive, low-risk sexual behavior among students by promoting responsible decision-making and self-esteem. This program will be education on delaying sexual activity, understanding healthy relationships, and practicing responsible intimacy through workshops and discussion. This will also address peer pressure, helping students feel confident in their choices by emphasizing values like self-care, respect, and accountability. The program aims to create a healthier, more responsible student community. This study also recommends a research entitled Assessing the Impact of Early Sexual Initiation on Risky Sexual Behavior and Health Outcomes in Adolescents.